Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This is Game Pass News. We are recording on May 24th. It's a Tuesday, and we are so excited to have our first guest for Season 2, Antonio Hypecaster from the Mega Dads. We're going to be talking about all kinds of why should you buy Game Pass? Or should you? Should you have an S or an X? And all kinds of crazy video game economy stuff, plus other things about what does Antonio think about this gosh darn showcase. Let's get into it. Well, I'm not going to lie there. Sorry, guys. I forgot to change to the 3-person cast, so now it just automatically flips to 2, but we're good now. So we're back to 3. I can do this manually. It's all right. I don't have to have the button thingamajigger do it for me.
Sean, Nick on the fly.
Well, before we get started, guys, with a bunch of video game stuff that we're all nerds about and we all love, something real sad has happened in the United States, and we just want to touch on it for a real second and just say that thoughts and prayers to the families in Texas that have been affected by this elementary shooting. This stuff is, I'm just going to say it, it's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. And, but right now we can't really get into that. We just, our thoughts and prayers and hearts go out to all the parents and the children, teachers, educators who hearts are broken. And, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I just wanted to touch on it real quick, or we wanted to touch on it real quick. Sean and I both. So Sean, trying to somehow transition from that in a way that can we can keep going. How you doing, man?
That's a very tough thing to follow.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I feel bad saying I'm doing okay, but yeah, it's sad. I feel very sorry for the people affected. I don't know. It seems to hit you. Looking at the reaction of you guys when you were both reading it. It's funny to see that with obviously the country having the laws that you do, it can hit you as hard as it still hits me, because obviously from the UK it's a completely different kettle of fish what we have. So yeah, but no. But anyway, moving forward, I'm doing okay. I'm still in the classroom at work, so I'm still having my brain melted with thermodynamics and electrical theory. Tomorrow we get to do chemistry, so I'm looking forward to that.
You get to make a volcano? Put baking soda in it? Because that's my kind of chemistry right there. That's what I do. We're doing removing hardness of chemicals by passing it through anions and cations and the whole. Wow. You guys really know how to ruin some fun stuff. Let me tell you. You just need to go back definitely. To volcano making. All right. No. To our guest, Antonio, man, we want to thank you so much for being here. We are so hyped that you would be willing to join us, talk about Xbox, Game Pass news, and all that stuff. So, man, how are you doing?
I am fantastic. I am living the dream. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I was talking you up a little bit, giving you the kudos because I have familiarized myself with the show. And it's freaking excellent. I'm going to guide you. a little bit on some gaming stuff, about your preferences, about the habits you guys. I'm going to break you so I could reshape you.
All right.
And mold you in. But yes, thank you so much for having me on. Seriously. It's very exciting. Thank you.
No problem, man. Hey, you're going to Antonio sounds like he's going to be like our Sherpa guru somehow. Like he's going to take us on a journey, and I can't wait for it. I'm all there for it. So before we jump into top stories and all that stuff, we wanted to give Antonio a moment to talk about where the heck he's from. You guys all know where he's from, though, unless you're living under a rock. He's from the Mega Dads. But man, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing over there? I know you guys kind of had a restart too, so tell us a little bit about all that stuff.
I love talking about myself, and I love talking about Mega Dads. We are just a group of fun-loving dads who, still play games and try to balance it with parenting, because that's hard. It is incredible to have just a close-knit group of guys that are just, trying to live the dream, right? Gaming and parenting at the same time. Check us out at Mega Dads at the Megadads on Twitter, or megadads.org. That's where you can find it. Again, Antonio, aka Hypecaster. You can find all the stuff that we're working on. We cover all the bases, so all the consoles, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and just kind of divvy up the load and try to talk about everything exciting. And we have some real funny spin on what we do. So we got Megadads Live, which is the podcast. So check that out. It's audio. So audio on your preferred podcast platform, Megadads Live, but it's a lot of fun, and the guys are all great. I'm glad to be their ambassador here because I'm the best. Okay, I'm the best of them. You got the cream of the crop.
That's right. Heck yeah, we did. I've been listening to you guys. I got hooked in with you guys after I started with the Nintendo Dads, and I was like, oh, who's these Mega Dads that they're talking about all the time? So then I started listening to the Mega Dads, and so yeah, I always love it. You guys, Adam and Will were just on the Nintendo Dads not too long ago. And in case you're new here or haven't listened, we are part of the Nintendo Dads family podcast. So so it's just really cool. And man, it's a real cool thing that you were willing to come on and able to come on. So we really appreciate it.
Be careful with those Nintendo Dads. Okay, there are mortal enemies / best friends. We can't tell which. We just keeping our eye on them. That's all. Nintendo Dads. I got my eye.
As the song always says, your best friends always stab you in the front.
There we go.
All right, guys. Well, let's talk about some top stories today in Xbox and Game Pass. So there, gosh darn it, I'm gonna have to fix this, Sean. So there are some interesting articles came out this week. Kotaku came out with an article that said, maybe everybody's just burned out on Game Pass, and it should just be, they should just all unsubscribe. And then also a former exec came out and was worried that Game Pass may hurt game sales overall, which we actually talked a little bit about last week, Sean. So I don't know, what are you guys burnt out on Xbox? Let's start there. Let's go to Antonio. Sorry, I'm not used to 3.
Yeah,
sorry, my bad.
Burnt out on Xbox? Are you kidding me? I want to play every chance I get. When we had that outage, like about a week or so back, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, do I remember how to read? Like, tried to pick up a book. I was looking at it like, I love Xbox. It's a big part of my life. It's a great source of joy, the escapism of it. And I think that they were trying to pick up on the latest Twitter, trend. They saw something trending and literally wrote an article citing just a few people saying that they were gonna unsub due to the lack of some AAA content at the moment. And they literally did it for clicks, which is fine. You have to operate on, your revenue if that's what you're doing. I don't fault them for it. They do what you got to do. But if you're acting like a outlet that has no standards in that way, it's like, hey, we're gonna shill or we're gonna make the money, then that's what you have to accept. And I think that they do. Unfortunately, that's what you have to do. You take the good with the bad. I don't respect Kotaku as an outlet just for a number of things, but just this kind of like added onto it for me. I wouldn't justify a click and read it for the details myself, but I do know that they referenced directly the people who tweeted and said that they were unsubscribing and like citing it as the evidence. Yeah. And even then themselves, I forget what the guy's name. Gene Park was one, but then who was the other guy? Tony something. He commented on Twitter that he was annoyed that his tweets were the whole, like, a big part of the grounding of the article. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. What do you want me to tell you? I'm not burnt out. I don't think anyone is, honestly. I think it was like striking while the iron's hot. That's my take.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to some of that too. Sean, what do you got, man? What do you think?
I wouldn't say I'm burnt out on it. There's stuff at the moment that's coming out that I'm on Game Pass, I'm like, okay, I'll give that a pass. Like I've currently got Floppy Nights in front of me. I downloaded it while I was at work this afternoon, realized it dropped. Thought, okay, so turn it on from elsewhere using the Xbox app and say downloading. But no, I'm not burnt out on it. I'm eager for more. Give me the service. The service is great, so just give me more and stuff like that. And reading through the article, he's comparing it very broadly to Spotify, saying, "Oh, Spotify killed the music industry, it cut the annual revenue in half." And stuff. But what Spotify also does is it gives everybody the opportunity to get more stuff out there. So we make a podcast every week that goes out to Spotify, which is great because then we're reaching a broader audience than we would have done if we were having to pay a monthly subscription fee to somebody that was going to produce our podcast and send it out. But also for your small, like lo-fi style artists, those that are trying to start out in the industry, Spotify is great because you can put your music out there for nothing. People download it. You start to generate an interest in a revenue from that. And I can only compare the smaller artists on Spotify to the indie artists and developers that are making games that come to Game Pass on day one and stuff like that. Those like Finji and stuff like that with Tunic, they can push their game to a larger audience thanks to the streaming service that we've got with Game Pass, and people then recognize them and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember Finji. If he brings out a paid game, people, oh yeah, Finji made Tunic. That was great. So this is a paid game. The amount of time and money and development they've put into the game must have increased. So this game, is going to be good. I'm going to go and pick it up." So they've generated a sale by allowing themselves to be on a streaming service. So it can go one way or the other. So
yeah, I agree with that. I guess for me, one of the things when I read it, I was like, there's a kernel of truth to this. And if they would have done a little bit more journalism, I'm going to be real frank, if they would have done a little bit more journalism, they could have had a really good, solid article. But instead, like Antonio's saying, they basically just went on and took out some tweets. And I mean, that's about as anecdotal as it gets, right? I was just on.
It is 2 tweets long and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines and 2 tweets long. So,
I mean, it's just funny because I was just on the Nintendo Dads and we were talking about we thought, this game and this game would be really good because everybody on our Twitter really wants it. And it's like, well, that's our Twitter, which we have surrounded ourselves around Nintendo people. So yeah, sure. But I mean, as the gamer industry of a whole, what does that look like? I think we can oftentimes get in our little bubble of Twitter or whatever social media platform we use, and we don't realize that's probably or maybe not the larger whole of gaming. And then also just the fact that they didn't mention the indie games that have come to that system. I mean, or to Game Pass this year. I mean, man, I've been absolutely adoring some of these games that are out and having a great time with them. So yeah, I do agree.
Also, would Sony be trying to do the same thing if it was so bad?
Yeah, that's a real fair.
Or would you want to do completely the opposite, knowing that you thinking that this is damaging the industry? Sony are trying to follow this in the same footsteps.
So I don't want to get too real or anything, but to imply that a particular service is at fault is nonsense, because the digital age revolutionized everything. As soon as you can compress audio and fit thousands of songs onto an iPod, the advent of the different technologies that came out made everything different, right? So I didn't have to go and buy a cassette or CD or vinyl. You had this digital option. The advent of the subscription model, you could say, kind of is hurting all content industries, from music to movies to everything, and to say that it's Spotify, I mean, Spotify may be a very popular of the, top 10 or whatever, top 5 services, but come on, I mean, this is just something that we have to deal with now. And I do want artists of all types to get paid, right? You see tangentially a lot of people on TikTok, all these music artists saying, I work hard. They're like, you got to tour. But now it's like, you got to make TikToks and sell this album and all these digital age requirements of all this effort for pennies. And it's sad, yes, but like I tweeted this. I said, I want to know definitively, let's clear this up. What are the facts, right? Does this hurt indie devs? So what we know is they get paid on an agreement, X up front, and sometimes that gives them the lifeblood to continue and to fund their next game and, you know, keep the lights on. And it's all a trade-off of what would your success would have been with or without it. Someone said a very interesting thing the other day. I forgot who it was. They said, well, who's hurting is the indie dev who doesn't want to be on Game Pass. Maybe it was you guys? It could have been. Anyway, who like they
Definitely
don't want to
was.
be on Game Pass, but now you kind of have to because people are expecting that, you know, and it's like, what can you do when you're not, you know, like accepting that offer you too good to refuse. So until we have the data, until it's out there freely to everyone, I don't think we know. I think devs are too scared one way or another to say. I don't see enough quotes out there. Here's what I saw from an article from techraptor.net. Not reputable by any imagination. I just found it. But it did say indie devs see a 300% growth in revenue, split between 190% in participating payments and bonuses for the Xbox Game Pass program, and 110% in add-ons and revenue. I don't know, whatever genius figured out, hey, let's give games in a subscription service, people will end up spending more. They'll buy the game if we give them access to the game via subscription. I'll never do that. Why would I? I mean, if it's leaving and I love it, yeah. But too many sales are happening. Who figured this out? How?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the only way I'm able to play games as a dad, honestly. So I love Game Pass. Hopefully it is not hurting too many people out there.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying, and I do feel bad for devs because, like you said, there isn't. It's not like Mike. You can sit down and say these are the numbers. If you're in Game Pass, then this is what's going to happen. If you're out of Game Pass, then this is what's going to happen. It's too new. You don't know. So it's like they do have to kind of shoot in the dark and say, let's go on Game Pass and take that money. And that's got to be hard to not take, right? I mean, here's what was the game we were talking about last week? Who got like 55% of their budget for that game covered up front? That's really hard as a dev to not say, we'll take that. Yep, that's great. You know, I mean, and then maybe it doesn't turn out being great as they thought it would be, but it's tough. But I think it's interesting. I also hate the economics. There's another part of that conversation I want to talk about. Kotaku has this
just very, very good. That game was Fury that we mentioned last week.
Fury, yeah. Kotaku has this very rudimentary, like, let's do basic math of like, well, Microsoft needs to produce 4 games a year because they're $60 games and they're 4 months. You know, $15 is Game Pass Ultimate, so it's that'll cover 4 months of your cost. And so if Microsoft isn't producing 4 AAA titles a year, then Game Pass is not worth it. And I was like, it doesn't make any sense because it's not as simple as that. I'm also testing games that I'm not buying that I, 1, wouldn't be able to play, or 2, might buy and realize that I totally didn't like. Westworld is Weird West. Weird West is a great example. I played 1 character, and then I realized that you were doing this switcheroo of characters, and I was like, oh, no. I don't like this game. It's not for me. This isn't my thing. So then I moved off of it. I got to test that game, basically play that game, and realize I liked it and didn't like it. Like, I don't know. What do you guys, let me break this down. What do you guys think about that kind of a view of Game Pass? Like, let's do math on, you got to have these many games to pay for what my, what do you want to say? Your time in it or whatever, your cost. It's a very economic version of how they're doing it. Sean, what do you think?
For me, it's hitting that sweet spot quite right with, if you bring a game to Game Pass and then there's DLC for it, don't make the DLC free, because obviously you spent extra time and effort on top of making the game to make that. So let people play the main game. Let them have like the big part of the buffet. So yep, come and have as many mains as you want, but if you want the dessert to go with that main, you're going to have to pay for it. you pay for the downloadable content. But that saying, oh, you need to have so many AAA games come out to make this worth it, I think it's a complete load of crap. Because if you're paying for Xbox Gold at $10 a month, what's an extra $5 a month for 100+ games? Mm-hmm. So people are like, I and ahhed about it at first when Game Pass came to Xbox, because it was it's £3 a month. The games on there aren't great. They're really old games and games that I probably aren't too interested in. I'm too busy blasting up on Call of Duty all the time. But then as I've got older and I kind of listen to other people, other podcasters talk about, and other people review games and indies and devs and stuff, indie devs and stuff, I kind of got more interested in that style of game. So Game Pass is great. I don't mind paying that £15 a month. I've got my Xbox Gold. I've got access to 100+ games that are complete. Every week we seem to be getting a steady trickle of games, and the occasional big hitter like Halo, Forza Horizon 5. We got a slight hold of Battlefield for a while until they realized that was that broken that they didn't want it anymore. So there's a couple of things like that, and there's games that we've got looking forward to. So Starfield, what's the vampire one called now? It's just slipped my mind. Redfall. Mm-hmm. And the rumor of Forza Horizon, Forza Motorsport 7 coming hopefully after the showcase, and will the next Doom, from Bethesda, a big ID game, will that drop, and will that be a game? So there's that much to do to it that I aren't going to risk not paying for my monthly subscription, because I want access to those games when they come straight away. So now, monetary wise, I think Xbox are currently, or Microsoft have currently got that on the perfect. They've balanced it so well, trialing everything for so long, that they now have it very well balanced.
Sure. What do you think, Antonio?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree as far as it not, making sense and, being rubbish. It must have hurt the person who wrote that to type it out. Because they didn't believe it. There's no way, you work at, that type of outlet that is, fairly gaming focused. You're, an adult, right? Mm-hmm. There's no way you believe that. It goes to the conversation of calculating value. Now, I personally do believe that the time that you spend with a game, your potential play time and new game plus and all sorts of factors, does affect the value of a game. In addition to the price, I think it does matter, especially for price conscious people who, I'm definitely one of them. A lot of people are in the gaming space, and I just think that it is going to be subjective. However, I am of the mind that, come on, let's be realistic. And I think we all kind of know. The thing about gaming is it's an incredible value just as is. If you look at what a movie is, or what it used to be, even what it is now, if you went to see a movie or you rent a movie, you're getting hours and hours of, the average game. Let's say a short game is, 6 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah.
It's an incredible value for what you're paying for, the comparable price. Music, again, 99 cents for a 2-minute thing that you're going to listen. There's just so many factors. How often are you enjoying it? How can you replay it? How much are you paying for it? And it is going to be, to each their own. And there's nothing wrong with that. We shouldn't get, all up in arms or too angry about other people's opinions on that. However, there are bad opinions. I think there are, and some people are just they just don't get it. For someone like me, I think that it's going to be an incredible value for Game Pass. I wouldn't be playing and still into Xbox if it wasn't for this service. When the baby, or we have a 2-year-old and she's wonderful, and with parenting comes a lot of costs and a lot of less time, and it was just the absolute perfect like way for me to stick with games that says, here's a library and you can pick up and play as you want and you don't have to buy, which, you know, there was a time where if you wanted to play 8 games, you had to buy 8 games at $60 or maybe indies at 15 or 20. And I don't have the money anymore. I'm sorry. And it's perfect for me. So I don't agree with that math whatsoever. I think that in order for Game Pass to be worth it, they could have a fraction of what they have. The day and date, I mean, it's worth it by any stretch of the imagination, even without AAA. There, I said it. I can't drop my mic. It was expensive.
I don't play. No, I totally, I agree with what you're saying on all accounts. It's like, listen, if it's not for you, then just unsubscribe from it. That's fine. But this is apparently one guy who who only wants to play AAA. And no shade. If you only want to play AAA brand new titles, then great. Unsubscribe from Game Pass and go do that. That's fine. But for the rest of us, like, I'm just going to run through really quick. This is what I have played and beat on Game Pass and enjoyed.
Get ready for this list.
And enjoyed, by the way. I mean, I didn't like play these because like I'm on Game Pass News, so I got to beat this game. If I don't like a game, if I don't think I'm gonna like a game or I don't like it, I don't play it. Like I'm sorry, guys. You'll hear me say that. That's a deck building game. It's turn-based strategy. I'm out. You know, it's just not for me. For me, I played The Gunk. I played Nobody Saves the World. I played Death's Door, Far Changing Tides, Tunic, Psychonauts 2. Yes, I know that was last year, but I just got to it this year. Limbo, that was a long time ago. Just got to it this year. Life is Strange, Turnip Boy, Lost in Random, Bug Snacks, and Iodine Chronicles. I beat all of those. I agree with you on Iodine Chronicles. We can have a conversation about that in a bit.
Whoa, thank you.
I absolutely loved those games, and I don't have no idea. I was going to do homework and try to figure out how much that actually was, but it was too much work. I got like 2 or 3 games in, and I was like, nope, no thank you, I'm out. So yeah, for me it works. For somebody else, if it doesn't, that's fine. Move along. I think that's great. Oh man, yeah. Antonio just got like recharged. He got like refueled is what he got. Good for him.
My dad's one of those that like only wants to play the big games. He's not interested in the little indie dev games and stuff like that. So every time I go around, like today I went around, I was like, oh, he was playing Red Dead Redemption. He absolutely loves that game. And I walked in, like he was looking down the scope, and I thought, oh, you playing Sniper Elite 5? And he was like, no, I'm playing Red Dead. I was like, oh, okay. I thought you'd seen that Sniper Elite 5 was coming, like was on Game Pass. And he's like, is it? And it literally like turned Red Dead off mid-game. I went to Game Pass to look for it, and it wasn't there. I was like, "Oh, that's my bad. That's like it's coming Friday." And he's like, "Oh no, that's still good." He sat and watched all the trailer videos for it. He was like, "No, I'm going to get this. I'm going to play it." So like, my dad has it. My dad has Game Pass. He like, but only for the big games. So
yeah, I think it's
he must see there's a worth to it. So.
Yeah, man, for sure. Okay. Anything else before we move on? I think we beat Kotaku down enough. I think we're good now. Moving on, the next top story I wanted to chat about. This came from a question. I just made this question a top story because I thought it was real good. Dokad87 in the Nintendo Dad's Discord said, "I'm really considering in buying an Xbox and leaning heavily on the X over the S. I'm leaning heavily on the X over the S. I'm more of a casual gamer than hardcore, but the price difference between the both of them is nearly half. I just can't get my head around the lack of performance of the S to the X, and to me that just does not seem next generation. And I just don't see the point, but at the same point, for being a casual gamer, should I really invest in such a powerhouse of the X? What's your thoughts?" Antonio, I'm going to throw to you first, man, being our guest. What do you think about that question?
I think the key word there was that he was more of a casual. I would go with the S. I think that all the accounts that I've seen from the performance is that people are surprised at what the S can do. If I'm not mistaken, the X has the internal SSD, and I'll be honest with you, because I'm an early adopter and I am addicted to convenience like that, it really is a game changer. I remember the first PC I had that had the operating system installed on an SSD. Loading games off the Series X that I own with the SSD, I could never go back. And I'm glad that I did nab one. I was a hawk on the online realtor stores when I was trying to buy one, and thank God I got it. And it's an amazing machine, the X. But if you're talking about, price in any sense of the imagination, just go with the S. I would advise, and enjoy it. And Xbox has great digital deals all the time. I think that you'd be happy. You won't know what you're missing until you experience the X anyway. So don't worry about it. I'm in the market for a computer upgrade after like 8 years. And I was researching GPUs and what games can run in addition to some other work needs that I have. And when you break it down, the Series X is just, it's incredible. It's almost unbelievable, the performance that you get for the price. That you can game on this machine at $599, and to get comparable with a, let's say a new PC, it's a deal and a half, and it works flawlessly for me, and I love it. Go with the S. Don't get the X and go down to an S. Don't do that. You'll never be able to recover. Sorry.
That's an interesting point of view. I never thought about it that way. What do you got, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. If you're just casual, you're not, also the other stuff that comes with owning an X is, do you have the TV that can handle all the outputs to make the X as amazing as it is? So, but yeah, go for an S. If you're a casual, you want to play the next gen games with decent graphics, and you have a decent TV or monitor setup, then go for the S. There's 3 things that made me go for the X over the S. I play a lot of heavy games like Call of Duty, so I wanted the response. Like, I play a lot of PvP stuff, so I wanted basically I wanted the edge that sometimes that might give you, having all the power behind it that it has. I play a lot of disc games, so like Elden Ring, the whole Elden Ring fiasco that we went through. You got that digitally, and you can't get that back. So that's true. You've lost the money on Elden Ring. I took Elden Ring and traded it in, and then got enough in-store credit to just pick up Kirby and have change left over. So I couldn't get on. I couldn't get on with Elden Ring. It was too much for me.
Oh my god! All right,
but that's
let's not talk about that.
Yeah, this is how I don't have enough. UK homes don't have enough room for storage. If I needed to store everything I wanted, I'd end up in divorce because my wife would not like me to have all the stuff around me all the time, and B, we just have shelves everywhere. We struggle for storage in the UK. If I had a basement, or I had if I could convert my garage to a room which was just my stuff, then yes, I'd probably have a collection of games, retro consoles and stuff because I absolutely love that stuff, but I don't have the space for it. So a lot of my games, it is, Dying Light 2, I got on disc, I played it to absolute fruition, and then traded it in because I had no use for it. I'd played it to the point where I couldn't play anymore, and there was other stuff coming out. So I traded it in, I kept the install credit for the next game that I wanted to get, which was probably a Switch game. And that's how I operate. So that's another reason why I got the X over the S. And then the third one is just the X was more available in the UK. So more people were buying up the S, sniping them really quick in the UK to sell them because they were cheaper. So they were turning them around. There was people were selling Xbox S's, the Series S, for the price of a Series X because the demand was there. People were just buying it. So I picked up an X because it was the first console out of the 2 that became available that I weren't paying an overprice for. So,
yeah. So I have an S. I bought an S really for the first reason you said, Sean, because I don't have a TV and don't have plans to buy a TV that's going to be able to power what the X can do. especially down in the basement, because I knew it was going to be down in the basement, and there's no way that I was going to be like, honey, why don't we buy a 4K TV and put it in the basement, and we'll have the 1080p TV upstairs. That'll be great, right? That wasn't going to fly. So, and there was no way she was going to let me buy two. So I was like, all right, I think I'll just buy an S. I have enjoyed it. Now, like Antonio said, it's a great point. I may have an X and be like, oh my God, I don't realize, I never knew what I was missing. I think that's really a possibility. But I have never seen an X in action in real life. So yeah, you know, and I don't consider myself somebody who like fawns over graphics, to be honest. I realized this when I started to review games for the Nintendo Dads. Like, I'd submit a review and then I'd go out and look and see. And I'd be like, yeah, it was a good game. It seemed like it was pretty good. And then somebody'd be like, oh my, did you see how the frames dropped and how the things did this and how the graphics were that? And I was like, oh no, I guess I didn't see any of that. Whoops. I didn't mention any of that in my thing, because I just don't like, it's not what I focus on. I've been playing Nintendo games most of my life, let's be honest. But the one downside is what you said, and I think we're gonna have to have a conversation with Antonio about Elden Ring, and that I'm happy to have it. I didn't get along with Elden Ring. It's not that I didn't like it. It was that it really frustrated me playing it, and I wasn't having an enjoyable time with the game. And that's why I game, is to have fun. We're gonna hope that Antonio stays with us at this point. If you can see, man, if you're just listening, you're missing his face right now. And so I realized quite quickly, I was like, crap, I just lost my $60. Like I'm on the record of saying I want to play Xenoblade, but I'm going to buy that on cart, and if I don't like it, Xenoblade 3, and if I don't like it, then I'll just return it, and I'll get at least some of my money back, right? Or not return it, but, you know, trade it in or sell it to somebody else or whatever. And so how often do you have to do that before you basically have paid for the X, right? If you don't like a game, you got to do it, what, 4 times basically before you've paid for the X, if you would have just bought that and returned it? Those economics might be as shaky as Kotaku's, or just a little short of that, but they are there. And for me, but that wouldn't make me change my mind. I would still buy an S, because I don't plan to do what I did with Elden Ring very often because of Game Pass. If Game Pass wasn't there, I'd say buy an X, because if you're going to be buying all these games, you don't like them, it allows you to shuffle them around. So, any final thoughts?
Okay, so if I had a digital console, I would definitely, make sure that I was game sharing. I think that it was either Phil or some Xbox executives, like, they were just knowing that people do it, and that you can split the cost of digital games in a sense with people. So definitely try to do that with someone who's also buying games. That's one way of kind of getting rid of the bite of a game that you buy and then don't like. You can also take advantage of the Xbox return system, where you can play a limited time and then return for different reasons. From what I've told, I've only used it once, but they're fairly lenient, where if you play under the amount of hours, you can request a refund. So I would definitely look into that. That might help. Quickly, Elden Ring is a fantastic game. I don't like Souls games. Like, I always like the idea of them, but bounced off due to the difficulty. And same like you, I was frustrated. There are certain things that you can do to approach the game that will make things easier for you. And also, it's a matter of investing your stats into your health, and then a matter of fighting all of the smaller enemies first. Those two things combined got me over the hump, and once I got over, the whole difficulty of the game completely changed, and it became a much more enjoyable experience. It takes about 8 hours though to get there. I'm glad that I stuck with it for those 8 hours, because I put 40 in so far, and again, despite bouncing off all other Souls type games, it's one of my top 5 favorite games of all time now, and very addicting. So I'm glad you have it on that machine. You got your digital rights to it, because I'll get you. I just need some more time, but we'll talk about it. You're gonna get there, and it's a rush when you do well at that game and you get over that initial hump. But yeah, that's pretty much. We're all on the same page, though. I think about you got to buy what's within your budget, right? Here's a quick pro tip: Instead of buying a 75-inch TV, sit closer to the screen.
Yep.
It's true. You know? That is true. Yeah. I do that with my little guy here. That's how I.
Yep. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. My next purchase is a new TV. After watching, my dad's got a smaller TV that runs 120 hertz or frames per second, and watching the X perform on that compared to my TV, which only runs at 60, that is my next purchase. But nice. That's going to be a while yet. And then the daughter will get this TV. It'll kind of like
swap.
She's using the TV that I had like nearly 12 years ago.
So Sean, does Lindsay know that that's the next purchase?
Yeah, she always knows that I'm looking. She advocates to the buying of technology. She bought the Oculus for me. So
God bless her. Good job.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. If there's nothing else, Antonio, we wanted to pick your brain. Of course, we know that Microsoft has no games coming out ever for the rest of the year. Never, ever. So since there's no games coming out, Antonio, I was wondering what you thought. Sean and I were both wondering what you thought was coming out in this showcase. What do you think? Like top 3 things you're hoping for? I don't care. You're hoping for, or you think you'll see. You go either way. You tell me.
So here's the story, okay? Hypecaster, right? It's all about hype. In order for hype to exist, you really have to be an optimist sometimes. Like the anticipation of games is a lot of times better than what we actually get, the actual experience. So there's one of 2 things is happening, right? Either the Bethesda Microsoft delay, right, of Redfall and Starfield is either ready to go and just needs polish, or it has major problems, right? For it to be, for them to have to change the release date from the 11/11 whatever, that they are so proud of, it's either polish or it's a disaster, right? I'm going to go with it's polish, right? So I'm going to assume that I'm going to believe, right? Quickly, I'll go back. I don't believe Todd Howard for a second. He lied to me about Fallout 76. I pre-ordered, I got a maximum edition and all that stuff. I've gone back to it after all updates, and it's trash. It's not trash, but it's bad. I like it. So I don't believe his ass. He lied to me, and I think he's a shill corporate suit who will say anything to sell product. Sure. Going back, okay, let's assume that Starfield's fine and that it didn't get too ambitious and all that. That means that it's almost ready, right? And they just need that polish time, which tells me that they show gameplay and it blows people away. Okay. That's the best case scenario that we have, is that Starfield is shown and all the haters saying, oh, it was delayed, this is the end of the world, we have nothing to play. They're like, damn, this is like very impressive. That's what I think, that they make Starfield a crux of the show and that it blows people away. That's the best case scenario. Awesome. I mean, deep down, I don't believe it, but it doesn't make sense. They say it could be Skyrim in space. It's not possible. Skyrim is like a ground-based, like I just played, the enhanced edition, like, in the most extreme mode that they added, there's no fast travel. So it's very grounded. Let's go get through the forest and over the mountain and through the cave. That's not how space works. It's a lot of empty space and there's way too many locations. So I think that Starfield got too ambitious. I think the second thing that they do, if they were smart, is they saw Atomic Heart like I did when it was early in development. They saw its potential, and then they're going to push that incredibly hard, and it will release as one of the mainstay fall games. Are you familiar with Atomic Heart?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to fill me in. Sherpa me some.
Atomic Heart is a first-person action adventure game in the vein of BioShock. If you watch this, if you can pull it up, please look at it and be jaw-droppingly impressed. The character models are incredible. The world is very odd and interesting. It is set in like an alternative Soviet era, with a like, this is new technology, but it's also old. And it's just incredibly strange. It looks for a, I don't know what kind of A's it is, triple A or whatever, but I don't think it's a triple A, but the developer seems to know what they're doing and deliver. It's kind of like BioShock and the franchise without the shackles of BioShock. So it's like, what can we do to make this type of kind of melee and shooting combat where you're kind of getting through an interesting twisted world and introduce all these ideas? It is fire. Okay, it is fire. It will be fire, and everyone will know that it is fire when it releases. I've been following this game for a long time, and I was excited when I had seen that Xbox was kind of, promoting it. I believe that they will try to do a Call of Duty type thing, because I believe it's multi-platform. I don't know for sure.
It's on Steam. I know that.
Yeah, I'm looking at PlayStation as well.
Oh, okay. So they will do a Call of Duty style thing where they make it seem like it's theirs, right? And they kind of buy up the like, oh, let's make it seem like you can only play this here. But I think they'll hang their hat on that. And then the third thing, if you want three, I would say, man, I would release the puck or the dongle or the Play Anywhere thing. How long have we been waiting for? It's rumored. We're there, right? They've been working on this cloud gaming thing for a while. If you have the assistance of a component that plugs into any screen and can play, Game Pass, and basically then all you need is a controller, I mean, it's going to revolutionize things. And I think that if it's, very fairly lag free, they're going to make waves with it. And I think if they wrap up everything with, you can play all this for $30, plug this into any screen, and they show like a montage of people plugging that shit in everywhere. And it's like, and your games sync, and, you can cloud stream or whatever, download to this other thing. I don't know. I just think it's definitely a leg up on the services aspect if you're competing with, Nintendo and PlayStation. They seem to offer more in that space. And I think mobile gaming is, it is going to be the future. There's issues with it, but I love playing in, like, I ordered a Steam Deck. I've used Project X Cloud. I've subscribed to GeForce Now and to all the, the different services, trying to, test them out, because I love them. Limited time, convenience is key in the future, and future is now. So those are my three.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man. Now
just very quick,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Very quickly. I completely forgot about Atomic Heart until you mentioned it, and I am so glad you did.
Everybody did. It's going to be great because people don't have their eye on it. They're going to be like, what? Like, there's going to be like, probably like 60% of people are going to be like, wow, I had no idea. It's going to be great. Watch.
Yeah. I loved BioShock, and it's definitely got that esque to it, but there's something else as well, and I can't remember the name of the game. But yeah, very creepy looking.
It's gonna be dope, man.
So a question we had from the community, just kind of throw it in here because it goes along with what we're talking about. Hambone Johnny asked, what's your biggest fear regarding the Xbox presentation next month?
Lack of gameplay.
Lack of gameplay?
Yeah, if they just show like a bunch of cinematic trailers, people aren't going to be satisfied with that, and the overall impression is going to confirm the fears that things are not ready. The more gameplay they can show, instead of pre-rendered, then the more confidence they will have that all these studios they own are close. You have to show that you're close at this point, and
for sure,
I don't know if they are. I don't know.
That probably is my biggest fear, that they're not close on any of this, and it's all 2023. Like, if we walk in there, like, because they have a handful of games that they could drop, like Plague Tale. There's a couple others too, and I had them down last week and I forgot.
Hellblade.
Hellblade, yeah, thank you.
Hellblade's not ready, man.
That might be the case. We'll see. But that is probably my biggest fear. If we legit have no games this year, man, that is rough. I mean, it's not Microsoft ending or anything like that, or it's not going to kill Game Pass. We've all chatted about there's a bunch of other stuff out there, but that's probably my biggest fear, that everything we see ends with a like coming 2023. Because also at that point, I mean, being a guy who's just followed Xbox for a few years now, it also at that point kind of gets this mindset of like, well, I can't trust anything these guys say, right? Like, I mean, I just like we started out with the showcase of Xbox with Halo Infinite coming out in 5 months, and then it came out like a year after what they said it would, and now you got Starfield and Redfall, but I don't really count Redfall because I don't think anybody really thought that was coming out. But Starfield really was a solid deal, or people thought it was a solid deal, and then that gets pushed, and you start to lose any credibility that you know. People just, it's kind of, and I said this in Nintendo, it's kind of like the indie world, right? It's kind of like, well, you know, I don't trust any game past 3 months on the indie world in Nintendo when they drop that, because it's like, it's probably not coming out until for 2 years. So, you know, you lose that credibility, and that becomes a real issue. So what about you, Sean?
Yeah. I mean, I joked with Hambo in the Discord when he put that question in. I sent the meme of Will Ferrell from Zoolander where he goes, "You nothing, you guys did nothing." But that's my biggest fear. It's exactly the same as you. They're going to come back with very little gameplay of everything. They're going to be rendered trailers, people talking about the games, interviews with the developers, and very flaky release dates.
Mm-hmm.
My absolute dream is they're going to turn around and go, well, here's Forza Motorsport 7. Go play that for 6 months. Well, you know, this next game comes out and this next game comes out, and like they just kind of like throw candy at us from the bucket and be like, here, have all this. So yeah, that's my hope. But you know, you got hopes crushed.
Nick, does Forza do it for you?
No. Especially not motorsports. Yeah, especially not motorsports. I mean,
yeah, I
Forza
agree.
Horizon.
I love Horizon, but
yeah, I'm not down for motorsports at all. But I mean, are you guys live reacting, Antonio? You guys doing to the showcase? You guys do anything like that?
So we are planning on doing it, yes. Okay. And I believe that it will be underwhelming, and that they've done enough to kind of signal that that's the case. But I believe that this year's, you know, it's about half over. There's plenty to play, you know. Like, I was gonna ask, do you guys know, did they delay Gotham Knights already
to 2023? No, I don't think so. No.
I think they actually showed it off the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, they were showing some of it. So S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 isn't coming, but I think Hogwarts Legacy might. I think Hogwarts might come, Gotham Knights might come. A few other ones. Like there's some decent third party or multi-plats that are gonna keep us completely occupied, and I think that that's fine. There are quote unquote indie games on Game Pass that I'm discovering lately that are just really good. And the fact is Elden Ring's another one that's great to me that I can chew on, you know, till the end of the year. So I don't believe that there is a drought. I think that people are piling on to Xbox because like they just generally get a harder time. And there will be a time where Xbox's problem is that they have too many games coming out of all these studios that they have to create a manageable release schedule, because they're going to be cannibalizing each other. There's just too much that is in the pipeline for them. And it's all got crunched. You know, it's like when everybody delays, it's okay, who's pushing back? And it's like, well, you have to release and, you know, go to the next thing. It doesn't make sense. So it's an interesting problem to have. I couldn't be more happy as an Xbox fan and owner with what I have now. So that's my take.
Sure. That makes I mean, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I wonder if on some weird plane this works out for us Game Pass subscribers, because I wonder if at some level, if there really is nothing, I feel like Microsoft will go out and get a game and spend more money than they probably want to put a game on that service, just because they don't want to let it sit with nothing. So, you know, if we get one of those games we're chatting about on the service that maybe we wouldn't have if they had even a modicum of a lineup, I think that could work well for us. So.
It would have been great if Blizzard Activision was locked up for them, where they could have said that the new Modern Warfare was going to be exclusive or whatever. I heard a rumor from someone not reputable that was saying that there would be a beta for the new Modern Warfare 2 exclusive to PlayStation. Like that was like already in the works, but I don't know that. So
yeah, I get you.
It would have been a great get. There was a lot of things they could have done. I'm hoping that they foresaw with enough time to make a move like you're saying, you know, to kind of, you know, soften the blow, so to speak. But who knows? You know, they have a lot of money, and money solves a lot of issues. So
that is true. And at the moment, we'll see. We'll see after June, after the showcase, if they got a lot of issues or not. So, in the news bulletins, real quick, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is back in development, or development is back underway, which is a really good thing. I'm excited. I've not played a S.T.A.L.K.E.R game, so I'm excited for this to come out. I agree with Antonio. I don't think we're going to see this game anytime this year. But hopefully, you know, we'll get it in 2023. And like you said, that'll be a packed 2023 if we get all of them. Acquisition
support S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 because it was affected by the Ukraine Russia war, so definitely support those guys, and it looked cool already. So, you know, when they do get on track, support that game.
Yep, for sure. Acquisition is moving fast, says Microsoft president Brad Smith, but fast is a relative term to the process, the mammoth process they have. So, you know, they said June of last year. Fast might be May or March, or you know, might get a couple months early. But I don't think don't look for anything this summer or anything like that, or anything this year.
I like the quotations in that.
Do you have it?
Yeah, it's moving fast, at least fast enough for an acquisition of this size. One of our attorneys has summed up nicely by saying, "We're coming to the end of the beginning, and now we're entering the beginning of the middle."
That is good.
It's like, yeah, it sounds like the Johnny Depp trial.
No, we're not going there. Hopefully it ends up a lot better than that. So yeah, that is Acquisition Watch. Just always here to keep you guys up to date on that stuff, but don't want to spend too much time. Anything else, Sean, before we jump into Spotlight?
No, let's talk about what we've been playing.
Let's do it. See, I fixed it on the fly. See that? I did it. Anyways. Oh, you can't see it. Anyways, I did. Antonio, we're gonna as our guest, we're gonna let you go first, sir. So what the heck have you been playing in the last week?
So I am honored and humbled. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of adulting. So we actually sold our house.
Oh, wow.
For the last 4 weeks, I've been painting, patching, repairing, and doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I did the ignorant decision of trying to not hire movers. In my defense, it was like $1,000 and stuff.
Sure.
So I was like, you know what? I can move boxes. But it was a complete mistake, and I've been very busy. That said, again, Game Pass comes to save the day. I have dipped into games that I've been interested in. The 3 that I've been playing was MLB The Show. I hate baseball. I mean, I don't understand it. If you watch, you know, any IRL baseball game, they're like, and the grass today is 4 centimeters above the ankle, and you know, the popcorn is $2 more, and they talk about everything except the game, because you know, the players are eating snacks, you know, there's nothing happening.
Yeah, I get
you know, and it's just such a slow-paced game. And I played MLB The Show 22, which is, again, a PlayStation Studios game on Game Pass. Like, my heart skipped a beat when I saw the PlayStation logo come up. It's a very good game, and a lot more entertaining than IRL baseball, in my opinion. It was very fun to play, the pitching, the batting. They have a lot of options as far as sliders and difficulty options and game modes, and they have a whole mode called Conquest where you play basically Risk, and you move your fans, which are your armies, around a grid, and you can attack, defend, just like Risk. And I spent an hour and a half on it last night, just like because I like Risk, and I was like, oh, okay. And then you eventually have to play a 3-inning round of baseball to, conquer a like a castle or hub. And it just introduces a lot of ideas. I think a lot of the sports titles get very creative sometimes with their game modes. And like, I'm not a big NFL like player, but when Madden comes out with their like mini like arcade modes, I play those. So surprisingly, if you're not into baseball, I would say try MLB The Show 22. It is very well done, very fun. It's arcadey if you want it to be, and the graphics are very good, and you feel like you're in a game. The broadcast like presentation is great. The other thing that I played was Citizen Sleeper on Game Pass.
How's that?
It is a sci-fi choose your own adventure game that also has like dice rolling and like plays out like a board game. So
really, I didn't get that from it. That's interesting.
It's extremely interesting. I'm glad that I have a bunch of games on my Xbox that are in like a filter that are just like, oh, try this when I can. And I'm so glad I clicked on it, because if you're into sci-fi, it presents a very compelling story, and a story that's very bite-sized. So there's this arc of you being like an android hybrid that is like a shell of a person, and it's kind of explaining, there's a mystery behind who you are and how you came to be, and you land on a space station and you meet all sorts of people, and you can choose to befriend people and help them with their tasks, and each characters are little vignettes that pop up with text, and it's a lot of reading, but it's very well done. I think the best type of stories and text space in games are the kind that are really well written, where it's going to keep your attention. It doesn't just go on and on. It's like, like 3-4 sentences, and then it's like 3-4 sentences, 3-4 sentences, and then you're done. And then it's like, okay, choice time. And then you make choices. It's based on dice rolls, so you can take a limited number of actions and manage your health and hunger and survive. There's no combat that I've seen yet, but you feel the sense of danger. I would highly recommend it to anyone who likes choose your own adventures, narrative driven games, which I told you before the show, I'm not a narrative driven person, but it got me. It was very interesting. And I would say to give it a shot. It's minimalistic in the like everything else about it. Like, you see a space station, you kind of move from node to node, which is like you're in the bar now, but like you never see a bar. It's just like saying, oh, this is the bar on the space station, and you see like the outside hub. So you're going through, but all the actions felt meaningful, and then it starts to branch off in a way where your choices feel like they have a lot of impact. So you're not able to see everything, you're not able to help everyone. You have to manage your time and your energy to, only help certain people. So those are the two things that I've been playing most recently. But I was playing Elden Ring before that, and it was good, and I'll convince you that it's good.
I wouldn't be in the camp that Elden Ring isn't good. I'd just be in the camp that it might not be for me. But maybe with the right, help and tutorial and guidance, I could see myself through it. But yeah, I mean, I was smashing myself onto Hansi, the 6-armed man, and I was like, nope, I'm literally like pissed at this game right now, and this isn't where I want to be as a gamer. So I just set it down and moved on.
I'm sorry, I wanted to mention, since you played it, Elodine Chronicles Rising. I don't know if you were aware that it's a prelude game. Like, it's a game created in anticipation of an actual mainline game that's coming later. And I think that has a lot to do with why I didn't like it. Like, JRPG are typically a slow burn. And it's like, hey, let's create a even slower burn prelude game to a game. Whoever came up with that idea, I don't know why did you do that? Did it require this much like groundwork in your story you're gonna tell? I hope so, because it was a beautiful game, beautiful backgrounds. But I did try the same game that you tried, and I bounced. I could not.
Yeah,
I could not handle it.
I'll hook onto that. I was bummed when I found out that 100 Heroes, which is the game that's coming out next year with it, is going to be turn-based, because I'm not a turn-based RPG guy. So that's what I heard, is that they're making that one a turn. And I was like, why did you make the Prelude action RPG and the 100 Heroes turn-based? And I'm trying to remember where I heard that from, and I can't place it right now. But I don't like turn-based games, so I won't ever get into 100 Heroes. My issue with Eiyuden Chronicles, and this, I struggle with RPGs, because before you got on, I was telling Sean, I was like, I'm taking on this lava dragon guy. I'm having a great time with it. And then I come back and I'm like, what's the next big thing? Let's do it. Let's get in there. Let's do it. And they're like, how about you build a spa for the town and you go around and look for random crap and talk to people for about 2 hours? And I'm like, oh God, and I know it's not this particular game. This is an RPG thing that happens, and I get it. But it's like, why are you taking me out of the fun of taking on these big monsters, so that now all of a sudden you want me to go find these rocks and build this spa and talk to that guy and this guy, and I don't know. And it suffers from what you're saying, which is it's good if you just do these bite-sized text chunks and move on. And it's just, there's a lot of reading. And the last thing I'll say, and I did beat it, and a lot of it I like.
What?
Yeah, I beat it.
Beat it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did, and a lot of it I like. The combat, where you use different buttons for all your different characters, and you can chain those together and link them and make bigger and bigger attacks. I think that is so fun. But these quests, and I'm all good with a good amount of quests. I mean, I'm an Animal Crossing guy. We all know that. But the quests that have me going from 2 screen over, right? So it's like, go talk to Bob. Okay, so I got to go 2 screen over, talk to Bob. Then Bob says, yeah, I'll do that. And 2 problems. One, I don't want to do 1,000 of those small quests that don't mean anything, that don't take any real effort except my time, which makes me feel like you're just padding the game. And then beyond that, Bob would say, yeah, I'll do that. I'll go talk to him. And then I'd have to go back to the guy that gave me the quest initially to complete it. And so it just has some questing issues, in my opinion. And but other than that, if they can figure out a way to really spotlight that combat system and collect the items and all that jazz to build up the town, I'm in on all that. I loved it. Thought it was great. It just, I grew very weary of go do this, go do that, and there was no real gameplay involved. It was just me walking to a screen and talking to a guy and then walking back.
When you beat it, you got the diamond, the achievement, or whatever it's called. It popped.
The main achievements that I finished all the main quests.
Do you remember what percentage it was? Was it 1% less?
No. Actually, it's fairly high. I don't think I ever got below 7% in the game. So I mean, fairly high for what you're thinking.
So when you pop an achievement, it'll say this many players have also gotten it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So it would. I would assume it would be incredibly low. Nobody's beating that game, unless other people are really liking it. But I'm glad that you stuck with it. That's good that you were able to do that. But it just seemed like the payoff was just not there for me on the moment to moment. So that's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I'm with you. By the time I got bored with it, I knew I was pretty much 2/3 through. So I was like, no, we're not stopping now. We're gonna get to the end. And I did start to disregard side quests, like the stamps and all that. I was like, nope, I'm done. We're just going to
thought that was the quest, the stamp thing. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, the DMs I've got from Nick have been great around this game, because it's kind of go, oh man, I'm really in for this. This is great. This is so much fun. And then like a week later, this is starting to get repetitive. I've just gone through 100 side quests, and now there's 100 more. I got the fact I woke up to it this morning because you sent it last night, and I woke up to it finally beating it.
Yep, it's true. It was so
the enthusiasm curve was like just inversely proportional down to all or nothing.
Yeah, and that's a bummer, because they have something here. They just don't know how to ride it through for an entire game, and hopefully they'll figure that out with 100 Heroes. So I'll just keep going if that's okay, Sean, and then we'll hop to you. Does that work?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I am still playing Box Boy and Box Girl. Me and my mom every Sunday play video games. That's a me and mom game. I think we're almost through it. Lots of fun. Enjoy that game. If you like puzzly games, it's a great couch co-op environmental puzzler game. So I think that's all. Switch Sports. I'm still loving Switch Sports. I can't, to be honest, get enough of the. I'm like John. I'm not as good as John, but I'm like John from Dads After Dark with soccer. I love the soccer.
So you're Team John and I'm Team Drew.
Oh, you really don't like that game?
I played it once. I'm bored of it. I haven't played.
Are you going to return
sampled all the sports, and I'd rather have that solo progression. That's what I'm missing.
Okay, fair enough. Now, here's what I'll say. Online play with 1 to 2 people is a blast, because you get that item deal. I love that. I played with a group of friends last night, and that was awful. Like, there's 4 of us on, apparently, because there's 5 of us on, because there's only 5 of us. The only thing we can do is bowl. The game won't split us up into different games, so the only option we have with these kids is to bowl. Well, the kids don't want to bowl, so we drop off one person. Okay, now we can play soccer and volleyball, but for some reason not tennis, because we have too many switches on, and we can still bowl. And it's like, oh my God, it's so bad. Like, you have this game that came out a few years ago called ARMS, and there's this party thing where you all get in there and you all go do your own thing, and then you come back to the room. Why? Why did we just drop that? That was such a good idea. And Nintendo's like, meh, that's all right. We'll go back to this where we screw them over and we only let them play a third of the games. So if you're online with friends is not that great. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done. But online playing against people with just one other person on one console is a blast, in my opinion. Splatoon 2, going through the single player campaign, because I have not done that. For some reason I just ignored it, and I wish I wouldn't have, because it's fantastic, just to be honest. So me and my son play pass the controller with that game. He does one, I do the other. He always gets upset because somehow he ends up with the boss. I don't know how it happens, but every time he ends up with the boss. But he's beaten them all so far. He's doing real good. And then just so you guys know, my stream Wednesday is going to be Trek to Yomi. It was going to be that last week, but I decided to do Eiyuden Chronicles. Streaming Wednesday will be Trek to Yomi for me, so I'll be starting that fresh. So I have no idea what it's. I mean, I have an idea. I've seen trailers and stuff, but I've not played it at all. I'll go into it with fresh eyes so that we can all stay together. So that's me, Mr. Sean. What you got?
You're going to enjoy that game so much. It's very storytelling, kind of side-scrolling 3D, all at the same time. You're going to really enjoy that. So
I'm excited for it.
I've enjoyed the little I've played of it. So.
Awesome.
So what I've been playing, I'll start Nintendo first. Because you were on the Nintendo Dads and I listened to that episode, which, by the way, I will quite happily on air say congratulations to handling Justin's questions. You were flawless.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Justin's great. He pelted them at me, and I was just like, I was trying to just take them and run with them. So I had a lot of fun in that episode. I appreciate for having me on. And you might want to mention you were going to be there.
Yes, so many apologies. Just I was supposed to be there. Literally, like I went to bed early so I could, because I've got to get about 2:30, grab my coffee, get sorted out, log on, kind of get rid of all the sleep out of my eyes and stop looking like I'm half asleep. As we were going up to bed, Logan kind of like came into our room. I think he's going through a bit of a growth spurts, complaining about pains in his legs. And we went from just a whinging child to a full-blown screaming child to a whinging child to passing out at 2:30 when I would have been getting up to kind of come down and start with the Nintendo dads, and like I wouldn't have had any sleep. That was the issue I was having. I'd have had no sleep, and then in the classroom trying to like learn and refresh, and I've got 2 3-hour exams this week based on everything that I was doing. So I could not afford to have gone a full night without sleep, sorry to everybody. And I behind the scenes, we'll be working very hard with them guys to try and get something sorted when it's not as hectic.
Yeah, they kindly agreed that we could come back on for the full duo. So thanks for that to the Nintendo Dads. So yeah. So what else you got going?
So moving on to the Game Pass games and Xbox games. Off the back of the games with gold last week, I got very excited for the Inner World, which I've loved that. That was a great game. I enjoyed Toonstruck as a kid on the PC. That was a fantastically fun game to play. Very quirky and strange. This follows that kind of suit very well, but it's very quirky. It's very strange. It's one of those point and click style games where you've got to kind of, sometimes you have to have a conversation with somebody to get an item, which then you need to combine with another item to do something in the world. And it's a lot of fun. You take control of Robert, who is the Prince Flute Nose for a group of people called the Flute Noses. And you've been overthrown. He was overthrown by somebody and cast in stone. And when you start the game, you play Peck, the pigeon, and you kind of got to like release him from the stone. And then you talk, like Robert kind of gives a bit of an explanation. He's got an internal monologue with somebody from the past who he's constantly arguing with. And it's just funny. It's one of those games that's really quirky, funny, great to play. It's just one of those where I don't need to give it a massive amount of attention. I can kind of just sit and play it. The kids find it funny because they like Peck. They think Peck's funny. So like we're flying around and like, oh, Daddy, go over and pick that person again, because they have a funny reaction every time you do it. So, which is good. The other game that I was playing was, and it was only due to the music that you played me last week, which was fantastic, is Umuragani Generation, which when you look at the trailer looked very much like a first-person shooter, but with a camera.
Mm-hmm.
The more I've played it, the more interesting it seems to be getting. There's a really great story about, there's a really great story behind it, how just a normal, everyday kind of people, big alien invasion comes, there's a little bit of a war, and bits and pieces like that. And that's as far as I've got to the story. I've got after the invasion and how people are now starting to survive in this almost post-apocalyptic style world. And you score points. The idea is you get a list of objectives to complete, which will be take a photo of this, a photo that includes these things, and this, that, and the other. And you get paid based on how moody they are, how artistic, zooming in and out, using different lenses, because that's the other thing that's in there is you start the game with a standard lens, and as you complete levels, you get a telephoto lens, you get a wide angle, fisheye, and those lenses are interchangeable. You can swap them across, and obviously that changes the style of the photo. There is a little editor that you get, so you start to be able to change the contrast, depth of field, saturation, tint, stuff like that.
Wow.
They don't do anything to the score that you get, but they automatically saves them to the Xbox cloud for you to then download to your device and share, which I thought was quite a cool aspect of it. So you got to do all these objectives, and if you get them done within 10 minutes and deliver the parcel at the end of it all, you get extra money for delivering the parcel. There's a couple of other bonus bits that you can get, like including a photo of all your friends, completing the postcards. So there's a postcard photo for each level that you've got to do, that you can do as an extra bonus. And that's like, you've got to get to a certain spot and make your photo look the same as the postcard. And it's good fun. I think I'm enjoying, like, being a big camera enthusiast. I'm enjoying it, and it's kind of gone from, like, I like to play the mobile games of hidden objects. So, like, it'll tell you to find, like, those games that tell you to find like a microscope and this, that, and there's like a load of items all over the place, and you've got to kind of search through. That's kind of like this. It'll say, take a photograph of the word cops. So you've got to kind of like run around this 3D level. It's all different platforms. There's like stairs to climb, pallets to like jump around on, and stuff like that. And you kind of got to find the word, and then either there'll be a little symbol next to the objective which tells you you've got to be close to it, far away, telling you which camera lens you've got to use to take the photo. So yeah, it's good. It's good fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's difficult. The platform aspect of it is a little bit lumpy in terms of like trying to walk across planks of wood, and sometimes you can just fall off, and sometimes you can't quite jump. I've kind of found a glitch where if you hammer in the crouch and the jump button at the same time, you can suddenly like space jump and be really high in the air and things like that. So, and then there's certain rules that none of your photos can include what's called a blue bottle, which is what the aliens are. So the photos cannot include the aliens. If it does, it just instantly writes that photo off. You don't get the money for it. So
it sounds like a photographer's dream.
It is, yeah.
That sounds like Pokemon Snap, but like much more like adult and like, you know. So did you say that the camera lenses do or don't affect your score?
They do. So like,
oh wow, that's a programming like triumph. It's like okay, cool.
So like, you can take a like one of the quests was to take a picture of this mountain. You can take it with the standard lens, and I got like $2.50 for it. Took it with a wide angle lens, and I got $3.25. Took it with a telephoto lens, and it made, because obviously it changes the lighting and everything, it looked a little bit more moody, so you get a bonus for it looking more moody and stuff like that. And it describes describes the aspect of the photo as well, so like artistically moody landscape, artistically moody portrait, and stuff. It's really good. It's good.
I'm blown away how you could develop something like that. Like that seems, you know, that's got to be hard.
And it shows that they've put a lot of interest into the development of the game in that sense, rather than graphically, because it is very rough graphically. But you kind of get over that because you've got so many different aspects to think about that graphically you're not bothered. So
wow.
And that's other than floppy nights, which have obviously got sat in front of me right now, and I've played all of about 10 minutes. That's all I've played so far. It's been a very busy week. I had a busy weekend with the kids and stuff, and yard work and bits and pieces like that, back in the classroom, and trying to keep Lindsay happy because she's had a procedure cancelled yet again, thanks to the National Health Service of the UK. So yeah, that's pretty much all I played.
Well, I wanted to ask you, isn't this the game you started off not liking, the camera game?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. I thought you, that's why I'm so shocked. You DM'd me. I thought, and you were like, yeah, I'm out. I didn't know you like had done I don't know, maybe not a 180, but I didn't know you changed your opinion on it.
I came off the back of the last podcast and went straight onto it, and I think it was because I was tired.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I couldn't get my head around exactly what I was doing, and then went back to it the next day feeling a little bit more refreshed. And I was like, actually, no, this is really in depth for what I'm doing.
Gotcha, sir. All right. Anything else for you, John?
No, I'm good.
All right. We have. Well, why don't you start? Why don't you take party chat question? We have one community question left, I believe.
Yep. Do we not have a scene for that? We have a scene for the party chat.
Oh, my bad. Failure.
Hey, we're back. So yeah, we have one question. It's coming from Mr. Hambone Johnny, who, by the way, has just come off the back of an awesome episode with Dads After Dark, episode 100. Go give that a listen because it's hilarious, backwards and forwards, about knocking bushes and making sure you don't show genitals in photos. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been hilarious. His question to us is, have you guys watched the Halo series on Paramount Plus? It wrapped up this past week with a wild ending, lots of open ends and opportunities for season 2. I have a feeling this is probably pushed towards either yourself, Antonio, and Nick, because I can't get Paramount Plus in the UK.
Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. I saw the first episode and that was it. It looked bad. Didn't impress me much with the CGI and the way that the action looked, and the take on the story was pretty interesting. Before I got a chance to subscribe to Paramount Plus, which I did 2 days ago through the Xbox Game Pass perks, I don't know if I'm gonna give it the full shot and go back to it. It just, from the news clips and all the clips I've seen online, it just seems like they went very liberal with their telling of the universe, and it's rubbing me the wrong way. I'm not saying that it's complete trash. I'm just saying that I got an impression that it was complete trash.
Yeah, so I have not watched the last episode. I think I'm one episode shy of watching all of them. The funny thing about this will always be to me that Sean and I sat here and talked about how amazing it would be to see Master Chief's face and the helmet come off, and oh my gosh, I saw a lot. I'm 8 episodes in, and I've seen a lot more of Master Chief than a head. Let me tell you that much. It's just crazy to me. It's funny. It's so. I wonder what the producers were thinking when the community was like up in arms about the helmet coming off, and they're thinking, "I see a lot more than a helmet coming off. I can tell you that much." I can't imagine what they were thinking. Do I like it? Yeah, I do. It's great entertainment. Do I think? But then I am not fussed about Halo lore, right? So I don't care. Like, I don't know the story really. I've played 1 and 2, and then I played Infinite. I missed the whole gap in between. I don't care about the rest of it. Like, it's just a fun story. Are they ruining this? Maybe. Is it a side story that just is never going to be reconcilable with the rest of the game? Possibly, and I think that is that kind of what has you, Antonio, kind of like, bleh.
Yeah, like, it's not. They've come and out and said, this isn't the Halo, this is like a complete reimagining, and that's just not what I would want from such a huge IP. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, you could take liberties, you should. Some of the takes that they had on Master Chief being hunted by his own team is kind of alluded to sometimes in the game slightly, and they kind of ran with that idea. There's a lot of interesting, takes, but they just went completely like out of the scope to me, and it kind of just took away from anything that I personally liked. Master Chief is at his core a very robotic individual that learns to be human, and this humanized him way too quickly for it to have any type of payoff. And he's supposed to look like more RoboCop, like damaged and all that underneath the helmet, and he kind of came out looking like he was selling like Old Spice soap or some shit like that. So, it wasn't for me.
I can't find the DM, but yeah, that was Sean's take too. When I took a picture of my screen, and I was like, well, here you go. Here's your Master Chief with like on the first episode when he took off his helmet, and Sean's like, that's Master Chief? Like, he's like, that little dude's Master Chief? I'm like,
in my head, I have this epic battle between the Doom guy and Master Chief. It's like, that is my dream matchup, to watch those two have a punch it out. Like, we're talking the Chicken and Peter Griffin from Family Guy kind of punch out style. Now he's took this mask off, I'm thinking the Doom guy is just going to beat the crap out of him, because, as soon as you give somebody that face, you instantly the persona you have in your head for somebody can change instantly, and that's kind of what if they ever did that if they like took the Doom guy's head like mask off and it was The Rock underneath, I'd be absolutely devastated. I mean, The Rock's a big guy. I've seen him in real life, but I'd just be devastated, because he's then got a personality for me, of a persona of what somebody might be, and I think that's. Because like I love Master Chief, I absolutely love, like, especially in Infinite when he's like jumping off the back of the ship and he's like, oh, I'll just get it done sort of thing. I'm like, yeah, one man army, and then like you kind of give him this like soft jaw, not quite chiseled, not damaged, no battle scars kind of look, and it's kind of like, how does that guy that's jumping off the back of the ship saying I'm a one man army, I'm going to get it done, have that kind of doesn't fly very well for me. So.
I can totally understand it. I mean, I can. I wouldn't like. I'm not a graphics guy, so I probably look past whatever CGI stuff. You're certainly not the only person, Antonio, to mention that like the CGI isn't very great. And for the story, I'm just having fun. I have every episode I get a little bit more shocked about, like, oh, okay, I guess we're going there too. And so just knowing the knowing the conversations that were around this show before it came out, and just knowing where it is now, they've gone way past wherever the conversation was for this community. So I'll be there for it. I'll be there for season 2. I will say the episode 8, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually kind of interested to see the spicy season or the spicy episode that Twitter kept talking about. It wasn't. It was a letdown. Twitter let me down. I was like, oh, okay, well that was what you're talking about, I guess. So yeah. But I'm with you, John. I'm there for episode 2 or season 2.
Very quickly with that, for the UK people that want to watch it, they can't get Paramount Plus. You can either use a VPN and do it, or if you wait, Paramount Plus is coming June 2022. But I also believe there's rumors that this show is coming to Sky customers as well.
I don't know what that means, but for you UK people,
Sky TV. So it's Sky TV. So if you're a Sky TV customer in the UK, you'll be able to watch the Halo series on there soon. I don't know what the date is on that. It's kind of just stuff that's in the pipeline. But yeah.
Gotcha. Well, does that wrap it up for us, sir?
It does. That's it. So if you're listening via the audio podcast, it's now time for you to depart the Game Pass news train as we roll into the Game Pass news showcase.
Awesome.
I will have to bow out for this part. I apologize. If you want to switch to the dual screen, my wife does need me.
No problem, man. Antonio, we thank you so much for coming on, man. We really do appreciate you.
I am so happy that you guys brought me on. You guys are legends. It was so fun. I appreciate you so much. And I will continue watching. Everyone should.
Awesome. Thanks, Antonio. Have a good night, man. All right, we actually don't have a ton for GPN Showcase as it is. Where do we want to start, Sean? You lead us on. You tell me where to go. I'll push a button. You tell me what button to push.
Very, very quickly. No, it's okay. I was gonna say I can't see the live stuff straight away.
Oh yeah, you can't, because I am not doing the thing that I should be doing, and we're doing it now. So we'll give you a little behind the scenes here. I have to do a virtual camera so that Sean can see, and then he watches from Discord. So that's there. You got a little bit about how the sausage is made. There you go. But we're getting there. I promise. We're almost there. Okay, and boom.
Oh, hey, look at that! I have a screen.
I can do things. Sorry about that, guys.
So let's go with day order again. I always like doing it in day order. So let's run the videotape for Floppy Nights, which is what I'm playing at the moment.
Gotcha. Now we showed this last week because it was coming out. Now it's out, right? Well, yeah, because you're playing it. Unless you got some awesome deal with Phil. Okay. I was hoping you had an awesome deal with Phil, but never mind.
No, it's out now. What I've seen of it so far is quite quirky. The dialogue is very fun. I wouldn't have said it's good to play with the kids. I think the kids are going to enjoy the graphics and the different monsters. But the premise that I've got so far is you've built the thing that it's on your arm that you're controlling, and you kind of carry on from there forwards.
Gotcha.
So, I'm actually looking forward to playing this for a turn-based style deck building game. I'm actually quite interested in playing this.
Okay, I was going to say, because it's not normally your deal, right?
No, not in the slightest.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I was a little shocked that you were like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And just so for you guys listening, we're going to give you, I'm just going to play it for a hot second. We're going to give you a little taste of what Sean's music's talking about, just so you can. Sean talked about this game, so here you go. This is the music that got Sean to play.
Oh, yeah.
This was that got Sean to play Umurangi. Did they ever say the name of the game? Or are we just guessing?
No, not yet. There isn't any actual audio kind of talking at all. So
this has been out for a while, but I just thought you guys might want to see what he was talking about.
Yeah, everything that you're seeing there, like when you're having to zoom in and out, you're manually having to zoom the lens in and out, but you're also having to manually focus, and you can add tilt and things like that. So it's fun. It's great.
Cool.
It is if you enjoy taking photos and you own an SLR and enjoy that kind of side of stuff, it's definitely a very quick and easy game to pick up and play. So the tutorial is really good as well. It walks you through it very quickly. There's an option that they ask you straight off the bat, have you played first-person shooter games before? And you can either answer, yep, of course, or no, I haven't. And like obviously that changes how in-depth the tutorial has to be.
What's next, sir?
So next is Sniper Elite, which comes out the 27th of this month. We talked about this in the last week's episode, but I just want to run it through again because it is coming.
The tide of war has turned.
Still looks good. I'm in. I don't know that I'll play it because I have a lot of stuff. You know, I have a lot of other stuff. But this comes out Friday. Did you say?
Yeah, Friday 27th.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Friday 27th.
Yeah. And I mean, it does look good. I mean, looks fun.
Yeah, my dad's super excited for this, like to the point where he genuinely looked disappointed when I thought it was out and it wasn't. So he enjoyed the first one a lot. So I think he even set about downloading the one prior to this to kind of get used to the gameplay again. So. And you have that there is that option. You can either be very strategic and sneaky, or you can go in all guns blazing. But going in all guns blazing is very good.
Also, if you're like me and you don't really want to see the skull and everything, Sean assures me that there's a way to turn that off. So
yeah,
I'm
in
down
fact,
to turn that
when you start the game, it's one of the things they kind of help you walk through. You can either turn it on or off, and they explain that, or at least they did in Sniper Elite 4. So.
Nice. And the last game, what's coming out next week?
For Honor Marching Fire Edition, which you've actually said you're interested in playing. So I'm quite intrigued into seeing what this is like.
Yeah, so I'll admit, I tried to find the gameplay trailer I could find, but they don't show a ton of it in here. But it is a good trailer. Ubisoft makes a good trailer. No doubt about it.
Yeah, they always seem to do really well with that backing music and like theatrical style.
Yeah. I need to lower that a little bit. I just realized that. So yeah, I am real interested in this game. I think the fighting looks fun. You get to choose from 5 different, I think you said 5 different characters that you know, and they have their own play style. And what I really liked about it is, even in the things I read about it, is that you always feel, except for like the bosses, they were like, they're going to throw a lot of enemies at you and you're going to feel kind of overpowered, but it's the mass of enemies that are at you that is what makes it difficult. You have to figure out kind of how to take them on first, who to take on first and second, and you know, how to deal with that. And that just sounds really fun to me right now. Like, I've played a bunch of text-based, read-a-lot games, so yeah, let me play a game that I can just kind of go around and swing a sword and kill some people. I don't know why, that's what I want right now. Plus, how long to beat says 10 to 12 hours, so not near as long as you might think. So
yeah, relatively quick game in comparison to stuff that you've been playing recently.
Yeah, and so it'll just be a fun kind of like palate cleanser. Is that what you want to call a game like this that we're watching right now? I don't know. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, it's like it's like an appetizer for you in the buffet of games.
Yeah, so I'm all in. I'm excited.
It's a long trailer. It's a good long trailer.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I didn't want to go with the cinematic one because I wanted to give you guys as much gameplay showing as possible. But the cinematic trailer is real pretty, real cool. They do a lot of time lapsing stuff and slowing down of time. It's real good.
So yeah, that's everything for the showcase. Like, there is a lot of games coming out in the near future, sure. But these ones are the ones that are going to impact you the most in the next, in the next 10 days at least.
Yep. Until you see us next, and then we'll fill you in on what's next. We'll keep you right up to the horizon, so you know what you got to look forward to next. We'll make sure you know what's coming up.
Excellent. Yeah, so very quickly, while we're still here, I'm going to push the achievement hunters. Obviously, the 100% achievement hunter has already been claimed, so the Grand Hunter badge has already been claimed. That was claimed from somebody from the Carpool Gaming community, which is fantastic. But we're still eagerly awaiting people's admission photos to that. So get those to us, and we can get you all tallied in, and we can start running everything, because that ends in 6 days' time.
Yeah, burrs.
And then the continuous competition of the co-op campaigns for obviously growing our lovely little show that we've got going on here. It's still going, so please, give us some feedback and reviews through your podcasting app. Specifically, I think is it Apple Podcasts that we the one that we pick up the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Apple Podcast or Podchaser, one of the two.
Yep. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us here on Twitch because you guys are watching us live. So yeah, just keep going. We're enjoying it.
Appreciate you guys. All right. Hit the outro button.
Yep, go for it.
Okay.